Okay, so lately Plarium has been doing a bunch of stuff to obviously tease a new promotional type champion that's going to be coming to the game, and I wanted to get a video out talking about my thoughts on what could be coming our way and what we know so far about what is happening around some of these teasers. So we did get this tweet yesterday. We don't know the kit or anything yet, but we do have probably a couple hints. We've got a journey across Teleria would be perilous indeed. You will need a companion mighty enough to fight the many evils that lurk in the shadows and even turn away death itself, but fortune favors those pure of heart, and their paths may yet cross with one such warrior. So I'm going to try to think about what some of the stuff could mean here before we know the kit. So you will need a companion. That is going to be someone who joins your forces, joins your army. Probably going to be, I believe this has been mostly confirmed, but a 7-a-day login champ reward that will get in a similar vein to Ninja and Ronda and the Ultimate Death Knight and some of the champions that have been added to the game. Artak as well, and a lot of those promotional type champions that they do. I think they usually do about 3 a year the last couple of years, where they release a champion that you get simply for logging into the game 7 days straight, and it's usually over a period of about 2.5 months, where as long as you log in for 7 days during that period, you're going to get the champion for free. But then it also says even turn away death itself. So that is definitely going to be a shout out to some sort of ability, which brings to mind something like when this champion suffers fatal damage, some effect is going to happen. It will either mitigate the damage and allow the champion to stay alive, or it will do some cool effect. When this champion receives fatal damage, instead of dying, the champion will stay alive and then also activate some ability or something, and it'll have like a 5-turn cooldown of something that it does on a death. There'll be some sort of effect there to mitigate being killed or activating something on death, something like that. Then also, but fortune favors those pure of heart. I can't really think of what this could mean. The only thing I could think of in terms of pure of heart would be like maybe this champion blocks debuffs or something, or has some crazy passive, like this champion cannot be debuffed. I'm not really sure, because there isn't really, it says fortune, there isn't really like a luck mechanic in Raid. There's certain abilities that will proc off of a percentage chance, like True Fear comes to mind, where you've got like a 50-50 chance of blocking abilities and stuff like that, so that can be luck. Maybe it'll boost up the odds of fear. Something around fortune, pure of heart. The only thing that really comes to mind is like blocking debuffs and staying pure. And then a lot of people are thinking that this login champion is going to be inspired by Wukong, and when I was kind of looking up some different artwork and stuff, it kind of makes sense. I thought this picture right here definitely looked like the champion that we're seeing in Raid, and I can see the similarities and how it may be a shout out to that for sure. The weapon also looks the same as well, as you can see, with like the armor and the hair, and then you've got like this staff weapon. All of that looks pretty similar to what we were seeing if I go back to the picture right here with the staff and then that armor and the hair and all of that. So I definitely understand the correlation, and I think there's definitely something there. Which means most likely the champion is going to be in the Shadowkin, and we already had one really good login reward champion from the Shadowkin back when Plarium did the Ninja promotion. They've actually, in all honesty, done a pretty good job with the 7-day login champions. It's one of the better things that they've done, like Ninja and Ultimate Death Knight and Artak and even Diona. Like they've had 4 or 5. I forgot about Ronda. They've had about 5 really solid additions to the game that they did a good job designing in a way where they give utility and enough value to people that are hyped up about trying out Raid and adding something to their account, while not being like overpowered, broken, and like ruining the arena or something. Like imagine if Taras was a login reward or something. I guess you could argue Ultimate Death Knight is probably close to that. I mean, he's going to be pretty brutal for new accounts. And I remember when I was doing the series with Amazon Prime, where I was like coaching 2 streamers who had never played Raid before. I was teaming up with BBXH and Dean So Cool, And when I was walking them through how to develop their accounts live on the show, I was telling them, I was like, do not attack any team where you see this avatar, where you've got the ultimate Death Knight. Just stay away, because your starting champion is Magic Affinity, and you are just not going to be able to kill this guy. He's got the boost and stats when you kill the team around him. He's got the self heals and everything. So yeah, just do not fight him early game. So I guess you could argue maybe he's a little bit too strong for beginners in a PvP, but all in all, I would give them like an 8.5 out of 10 in terms of their design choices of champions they've added as 7-day logins. And I would say the worst one they did, if I had to pick one where they didn't do a good job, it would be Alexander. It's just kind of uninspired. It doesn't bring anything new to the game. Like, you've got Ninja with the scaling and all the cool stuff that he brings, and Rondo was amazing. UDK was super unique and brought a lot of interesting mechanics to the game. Alexander, all he does is has a little bit of freeze on the A1, and then does defense break and weaken, which we already have plenty of champions that do that. And then he's going to be having a single target buff strip. So, yeah, just really nothing here that is hyped up. He's just kind of a decent early to mid game champion that can do defense break and weaken, but then also the weaken is only against 2 factions in the game. So yeah, Alexander was definitely the one that was the most underwhelming in terms of what they brought to the game as an exciting promotional champion. And then Diona was one that a lot of people forget about. I think a lot of people sleep on Diona. She's got a pretty cool, I mean, the AoE A1 is super handy in a lot of different situations, and it gives your whole team basically a lifesteal set with the leech super consistently on the A1. She scales with HP. She's got an A2 here that can book to a 3-turn cooldown while decreasing resistance on those boss fights where you're going up against the dragon or whatever, and you're trying to make sure you can land those poisons as a new player. Well, Diona is going to help you do that and help you progress a lot, which is something that new players, if they're downloading Raid as part of a promotion, are really going to need added to their account. And then you get another AoE where we're going to block buffs, which is an insanely important mechanic, and we're going to heal all allies as well while having a passive that's going to increase her accuracy to help her land those leeches and stuff that she needs to land, and then getting a strengthen, which is kind of rare. It's hard to get AoE strengthen on all allies, and that's going to happen every time she drops below 50% if a new player is like struggling to clear a dungeon or something. So even though a lot of people sleep on Diona, she was super cool aesthetically, and I do think her kit is probably a little bit underappreciated in terms of what it brought back then as a login reward for the target audience that she was being added to. So yeah, I'm hoping they do a good job on designing this champion and bringing some new people into the Raid community, while also giving some of the longer term players a fun champion to play around with and try new things on. As soon as we know the kit, I will obviously be getting things like an infographic and a full breakdown of my thoughts on the champion within the context of the game, and ranking and grading and all of that coming soon. So I appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you soon in the next video. Peace.